received in advance two documents. One, a kind of quick summary on our sort of approach to the future new services from Voice, the Future for South West Forum, and a paper also on rethinking South West Forum's membership. So what my intention to do now is to whiz through the key elements of the business plan framework, which has been agreed by the board, and I need to sort of kind of share this. Okay, cool. Right, so okay, fine. So the first three slides really set out our vision, mission, and values, which we, and I say we, essentially I'm talking about the board, because this ultimately is a sort of board decision, have reviewed, and this our vision about for the South West to have strong, independent, voluntary and community groups, and our mission, South West Forum being a strong, authoritative voice, helps to safeguard voluntary sector, voluntary organisations' independence, supports voluntary organisations to be efficient and effective, enable voluntary organisations to collaborate, and our values haven't changed. Particularly emphasis on sticking with our core values. Just flicking back to the mission, we have kind of emphasised and built in more explicitly the reference to South West Forum supporting voluntary organisations to be efficient and effective, which wasn't there before. But essentially, we looked at South West Forum's mission, what we're about, and we feel that that still stacks up, that still stands, that's still relevant in this new world. What we do will be different, or certainly some aspects. We're now talking the language of enterprise and business, which I think is appropriate up to a point. So we're talking about the market, and that's pretty well everybody, isn't it? We've talked about obviously voluntary and community groups, who would exist to provide services for, but we see local authorities, other public agencies, central government, private sector, consultants, whatever sector you describe them in. I guess we could also now add employee-owned mutuals and so on as part of our potential market. They're part of our market, but still linked back to our mission. So if we're working with local authorities, we're not working with local authorities to help them be better local authorities. We're wanting them to be better at working with the voluntary sector. So we need to keep track of that. And our focus, well, this is pretty broad-ranging as well, and I would probably kind of now maybe recast that a bit, but it's all the kind of agenda that we've been hearing about today, all the big society, localism stuff, is health reform, but also some more organisational sort of development strategic planning aspects to do with collaboration, demonstrating, measuring impact and social value, support around workforce development. So again, a pretty broad agenda. We see our core activities as, again, so these are not terribly different, and these aren't necessarily in any particular order. As I flagged earlier, events, we see, delivering good, high quality events, conferences, workshops, training where that's appropriate to deliver a kind of between national and local scale. As we've got good track record, we do them well. There's a demand. If we get them right, we get the programs right, we think people will turn up and will pay. Important in their own right, but also critical in terms of enabling us to engage with a wider range of organisations in our kind of shop window. So we think that's pretty important. Projects, well, we can't get away from it. Projects will got to be a core part of where we resource our activity. And let's be realistic, we're not suddenly able to move into entirely income generating selling services kind of model. We've got to, if we're to survive and deliver what we think we should be delivering, some of that's got to be through project. We've got a big social action fund project in partnership with the University of South West. We've got an opportunity to do business some additional big lottery fund money. We're looking at reaching communities. We'll be looking at other opportunities which we think are appropriate for South West Forum. We're wanting to build up our kind of support services, kind of consultancy role, and reflected in this simple little leaflet where we highlight the sort of things where South West Forum can help. Now, we haven't got the capacity to do all that to the sort of level that perhaps needs and demand, but we want to be working with other voluntary organisations, social enterprises, other partners to be able to deliver and to have the capacity and responsiveness. And that pushes us into a much more entrepreneurial mode of operation. In terms of networking, we still think that's really important, bringing people together from across areas, not necessarily just Southwest, not stuck with the same old Southwest geography, but bringing people together from different areas. How that's kind of resourced, well, that's probably not going to be supported by people paying to participate in networks, so that in practice that will come through on the back of projects, I suspect. So probably those first three are our kind of main sort of income sources over the next year or so. In terms of support services, well, I've just flagged basically what's there is in here, and I think the thing I wanted to emphasise is trying to do things that are appropriate to do at that place between national and local. So, and some of that will be about supporting and helping local infrastructure organisations to have the additional capacity. If local infrastructure organisations are perhaps having to downsize, they're having to kind of reconfigure, we think they may need to buy in some of this kind of stuff. Now you would say, well, where do we get the resources from? Good question. But I think there are things that are to be done that are appropriate at a kind of between national and local scale in these kind of areas. And we've evidenced it in our in this report that there is an appetite and demand for lots of this voice and influence training work around impact. We're often in a place where we can be independent of local, and that's can be quite helpful, I think, in brokering consortia and facilitation and so on. So those are the kind of areas that we want to strengthen our delivery of services. Okay, development. So let's pick up some things that Peter said, but kind of he did sort of metaphorically. So indicated to give £500,000 budget, performance targets. Staffing, this is more internal stuff, isn't it? Staffing review, so new business plan, new kind of roles. We need to rethink, what staff, skills, capability, capacity we want. We want some of what we've got at the moment, but we might want some different things as well. So we need to go through that process. We've absolutely got to be better at marketing ourselves and our services. To be honest, that's something that we've. Wrong laptop. That's really confusing. Different laptop. It's something we haven't, in a sense, really had to do a great deal in the past, and we haven't done particularly well. So marketing, we've had some good advice, not least from somebody in the room around that. New collaborations and partnerships. I think we're looking at a number of different directions. So we flagged the relationship with Ecology Southwest, which I would say is developing well. We've had, for instance, joint team meetings, very effective. Some small scale kind of sharing and maybe joint activity, maybe some bigger stuff as well. But we're also, collaborations with our colleagues in the other regions. People like Richard, who you heard earlier, doing more under the Regional Voices national umbrella where that works. So sort of vertical, horizontal collaborations and increasing collaborations with organisations with expertise who are in the region but don't necessarily have region-wide reach, I would say. So, Learning Southwest, which we have not Learning Southwest, Learning Curve, which we have a very good and long-standing relationship with, don't cover I'm not sure Tim would like to cover the whole region, and he's got a national role, but we have a strong relationship there to build on that. We're looking to build on Care Forum, undoubted expertise in the health and care sector, but essentially in the Bristol and surrounding West of England area, we develop relationships. So we're looking at different options and opportunities, and basically we're open to talking with anybody we can do business with that helps us to achieve our mission. We've got to be more efficient about doing certain things. I think we've made some considerable progress using more online mechanisms. We've got to reduce our overhead costs. organisations, easier said than done. That's for us, it's basically about premises and staff. There's not really much else in terms of significant overhead. So that's quite a challenge. Now, some key changes. Hurry up now. A couple of things I really wanted to flag, which are quite significant. One is a change to our membership structure. This is a board decision, but we really want feedback from members. I've already had a bit of feedback from members in advance of the AGM for something you can't see here. And I also wanted to flag the working locally protocol, the other things which kind of picked up. So just a couple of minutes and then I'll stop. Membership. Our plan is this. At the moment, our kind of membership, to be honest, it's been declining. It seems to fall between the number of stalls, really, I think. People have to pay, not necessarily very much, but sometimes even finding 50 quid for an organisation is, well, having to cut back and so on. We've got 100, what have we got? How many paid-up members have we got? 120 paid-up members. Okay, we've always said it's through network members that we have the reach into the sector, but it doesn't seem quite right for an organisation to voice the sector. So this is our concept, and people can access a lot of information and services from South West Forum, whether they're a member or not. And that's part of where we came from, and trying to be sort of inclusive and open. So this is the plan. The plan is to have a much more open, inclusive membership, which we'll call influencers, where people either pay nothing or a very token fee, and to be part of the voice. They want to be part of the Southwest voice, and they want to be made more able to influence and have stronger voice themselves. That's why they're joining. That's why we want to get away from the term member, which seems a bit sort of ambiguous, really. So we want to go down the route of join Southwest as an influencer. That's one. The second, and that would be the voting members, still the same basic governance structure, members, influencers, electing a board, etc., forming the quorum at AGMs. And then the other category is work-observant partners. And these are organisations in any sector that pay to sign up to Southwest Forum because they will get information and access to resources and services. It's in their business interest. So 100 quid a year, if that gives you information about a contracting opportunity that you're successful with, that 100 quid is a bargain, isn't it? If it gives you access to some information that really helps you to transform your organisation or build a relationship with somebody. So that's how we want to kind of sell the partner membership category. Social partners would be the voluntary sector, public partners, private partners, and possibly another category of kind of consultant associate partners. That's the route. We've still got work to do to sort of market and develop this. That's the concept. We think it's quite exciting. We think it's really important and helps to sort of slightly separate out the voluntary sector voice function from some of the more delivery stuff, which I know some organisations, have potential conflict of interest and so on. So that's the route we're going down. And finally, thing I wanted to flag, which I think I might have mentioned, is this working locally protocol. Basically, the challenge for Southwest Forum is to be enterprising, to be respond to opportunities, stick with its core vision and mission and values, be sustainable, generate income, but not piss off loads of local organisations who feel we're treading on their turf. To be frank about it, and where Southwest Forum came from, that was quite a strong element to not do stuff that was regional and keep out of local. I think our view now is to give us the sort of flexibility to respond to opportunities that we think are appropriate and we think are in the interest of voluntary community organisations, frontline voluntary community organisations, but to do that in a way that's collaborative. Or starts from a collaborative viewpoint. So if there's an opportunity to do something in a particular geographical area where there are organisations, be it members, already kind of placed, we think it's appropriate for South. We will seek to collaborate with those local organisations. The result of that might be, actually, we think X local organisation is best placed to do it, we'll keep out of it. They might say, we don't want to have anything to do with collaboration. We might then say, no, we think it's still appropriate for us to go for in the interest of voluntary organisations frontline, but we'll still want to collaborate with you if we're successful. Now I know that still needs a bit of working out in practice, but that's essentially where we're trying to kind of capture that tension between, as I say, being sort of entrepreneurial in a very good sense and sustainable, having the interests of frontline voluntary community organisations at heart, but working with appropriate organisations where that seems appropriate. And one of the challenges, provision of local support is really variable across the region, isn't it? Some places it's stronger than others. So, there are some parts of the region, we know there's a strong voluntary sector forum, for instance, so, Cornwall, that's fine. But in fact, we're doing some work with Cornwall Voluntary Sector Forum and sort of adding, I think, hopefully adding value to what we're doing that collaboratively. So that's quite important, I think, and we'll be getting that out to our members and others for some feedback. So that's the way we want to do that, sort of tries to keep hold of our values and where we came from, but enable us to operate in this new, more competitive environment. So I've rambled on too much, and I know we're right at the end of the day and we're running late, but for some chance for discussion, I'm really interested in entering into discussion after the event as well as
can I take any questions or any comments on Steve's presentation?
Is it possible to explain to you any more clarity over what the difference would be between being a member of the partner in terms of benefits, access, that kind of thing? I'm just struggling to see where you sign up as a member, what's the added value signing up as a partner?
That's a very good question. We did set out in the paper quickly so this is our thinking so far, so obviously not set in stone. So influencers, so they're sort of, if we regard those as the sort of core members, if you like, so we'll be able to engage in the usual governance stuff, let the South West Forum board participate in governance stuff. Receive regular news bulletin, be able to participate in consultations through events and online mechanisms, be able to participate in campaigns and lobbying, act as the South West Forum's kind of sounding board, and I hope that we can resource it, access support to build their own influencing capacity. So those would be the organisations we would go to around consultations to get feedback, to respond to, whether it's a national thing or regional or whatever. That's and in terms of actually physically what they got, it would be essentially kind of information and access to that. In terms of partners, still to be worked out, certainly we get information, and organisations can be both. Certainly voluntary organisations.
You can vote as a partner as well.
Well, no, if you're a social partner, if you're a voluntary organisation, you might sign up as an influencer, and to be honest, why not? Nothing to lose. Good for South West Forum. If you then want to pay £100 a year, say, and get access to information about subcontracting opportunities, be a sort of first port of call for South West Forum partners, have an in-principle agreement with us to work jointly to deliver services, maybe have a discount on South West Forum services. That's where the partner element fits in. We might decide to segment for different, what's appropriate for a social partner might not be appropriate for a local authority partner, but that's essentially the difference.
Any further questions or comments? Yes, Mark.
I welcome the change to the membership structure, because as I see it, you intend to increase income from membership by about 200%. Clearly that can't be a bad thing. What I'm struggling to comprehend is where do you see the additional partner members coming from? Because, currently I think there's only 12 associate members paying the full rate at £115, I think it is.
Yeah.
And you're hoping to get 150. So I'm just a bit confused as to how you intend to increase that level of membership.
I think what we're hoping is that a lot of the people who are existing paid for members will recognise the value of what they will get, which is an enhanced package through being a partner, and will want to continue to pay a fee. So therefore what we're looking at is moving that element from 120 to 150. So to sort of come back to you, the issue is we then with a kind of a basic package of information going out much wider to a huge group of voluntary organisations and social enterprises who previously haven't been in any kind of membership with the forum, and saying for free, do you want to get this basic package? Does that clarify it a bit more?
I just think it's ambitious, and rightly so. But I'm just a bit concerned that you're going to be asking around about 30, 140 organisations to increase from what is currently about £60 average membership to 100 at a time when yourselves have said you're struggling with that, with asking some people for £50.
I mean, again, I suppose the issue is assuming they're all coming from the voluntary and community sector, which they won't be. Steve, do you want to?
Yeah, I think we've got in some. So you've done a bit of homework.
Just looked at. I mean, the information provided is very clear. Thank you for that.
I think we see certainly sort of network of infrastructure organisations. Is, ideally we'd like to recruit as many of those as social partners as possible. Increasing the organisations working really closely with some regional organisations. Then we see, local authorities, other public agencies, however they're sort of panning out. I think there's quite a lot of private companies, professional firms who are interested, and so I think we sort of begin to break down that market. It looks a bit more cheap. It's ambitious, and I think our sort of starting point is not to we want to increase income from members, but that's not our starting point. It's never going to be a massive proportion of our income. So we see it more as about a way of us kind of developing our relationships and building our customer databases.
Like I said, as an organisation that has a vested interest in the success of Zaki's Forum, very much welcome it. And if you need any help in marketing or promoting, then I'm more than happy to help with that.
I guess I would just add and think that I think that the offer in terms of what partners get, I think is really innovative. And I think it'd be great if we could look at ways in which we can more clearly define what we need and what people buy when they invest that into accounts. But I think thinking about colleagues of mine in my day job as well as people that have left the NHS who now set up themselves independently, this kind of thing would be really valuable in terms of a way to build your network for work. But I think we need to probably look at how we can be a bit clearer in terms of what we mean by something like as simple as access to tendering and commission information, and that's you need to specify. But I think it's a really innovative way actually of gaining income as well as gaining membership by removing the membership fee to your general sized organisations. I think it's a really good plan.
Any further comments? Anyone want to pick up any of the other elements of the business plan?
I suppose the only other thing I was speaking to the CBS where I come from. I think the wholly working local protocol. Yes. It would be. I don't know what plans we have in terms of looking at how we consult on that, but knowing some of the experiences around trying to figure out that's regional local stuff. I think we probably need to start at the very beginning about purpose of doing it and who wins and those sorts of things, and the way in which it even begins to get talked about, I think will influence the way in which people take it. I've already had one person to me today say that they're really not happy about the thoughts numbers when we do that locally. I was just thinking that's not what it's about as far as I can see, but it is how do we manage that so it doesn't end up being something that runs away from us before.
I think that's a helpful comment, and clearly we're going to have to try and spell this out as clearly as possible right from the outset. And the principle is here that we stick with our values, the value base that we've outlined, and where we do work locally, our opening starting principle is we will seek to collaborate with the relevant local organisations first. We're not the other way around. So it's very much about where we can add value still. And speaking of somebody who is responsible for a local infrastructure organisation in Cornwall, where we have done some work with Steve's team, it has brought an extra string to our bow and given us capacity that we didn't have on a local basis. So I can see the value of it, but it is a different concept, and I appreciate it might be some fears raised on it.
I think it's sharing those sorts of stories would be really powerful, and as I said, this is where it works well.
I was tempted to have just renewed my membership to ask for a refund, but actually I'm not going to. No, but seriously, what I wanted to say was just to pick up on your point, is I've had my involvement with South West Forum as being in kind of 3 different arenas. One has been as an independent consultant, one has been for a very small organisation who struggled to pay the membership fee, and latterly, just now, having had 3 years out of the South West Forum, back in with an organisation that has a more of your influencers agenda, again it's a larger organisation, so I think actually there's a lot of mileage in the plans that you have, and because people have got that is the diversity of the community.
Thank you for that.
We will do a deal with the members, existing members, so that's already been on our, looking at Richard, we've already talked about that.
Thank you for bearing with us. I'm aware we have run a little bit late, and I'd like to ask your indulgence on that. Please, if you haven't already done so, can you fill in the feedback form in packs? And if any of you have further thoughts or comments about our plans for membership or our working local protocol or business plan, we're very interested to hear from you. Thank you very much.
I'm just mentioning it to Steve. It's okay on the time. But I haven't spoken to Steve, because I've got to have a catch up with Steve. Can you bear with me for a while? I'd rather do my